today is a classic replay. I'm going to go way back in the archives, back to episode 265. If you haven't heard this before, this is an interview with a single woman, single mom, actually, raising either an almost teenager or a teenage daughter who never thought that she could buy a home, and they were renting for 10 years, and she so desperately wanted to be an example to her daughter and show her what you could do. So eventually she reached out to us at the podcast and found out that even in the expensive area of Long Island, she could buy a home. And she went through the process, bought a home, and got to be that shining example for her daughter. This story is incredible. Now, if you've already heard the Vayola story, at the end of this episode, you can just fast forward to that. And I'm going to give you a list of a whole bunch of other old school episodes that you may not have heard that give you some great tips, tricks, and how-tos for your home buying coming directly from real people who did it. But if you haven't heard Vayola's episode, you're in for a treat. Here we go. Enjoy.
How to Buy a Home educates, protects, and connects first-time homebuyers to qualified vetted realtors in their area. Whether you're looking for DIY information or step-by-step guidance, How to Buy a Home is the #1 resource for first-time homebuyers.
Oh, goodness, everybody. I've been talking to Vayola like through emails and texts and little videos and stuff. And I just talked to her for about 12 seconds because I know this is going to be fun. Vayola, how are you?
I'm good, David. I'm so glad to be here with you tonight. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
We are so excited to have you here in the How to Buy a Home dojo. Sorry, I've been watching Cobra Kai. I don't know why.
You and my daughter would get along very well.
We're going to get all into your story, and we're going to get all into your daughter and what this home purchase means for you and her. For everyone out there listening who is overwhelmed, confused, tell us your #1 tip to first-time home buyers to help them in their process.
Okay. Well, my #1 tip to help first-time home buyers, and it was listening to this podcast that actually helped me, so I hope that I'm helping someone as well, is to really trust in your unicorn team. That's my #1 tip. Trust in your unicorn team. They know what they're doing. You're in good hands. I'm going to steal the Allstate slogan. You're in good hands with them. And my second tip is when you're ready to buy a house, have your cash liquid, like ready to go, because it goes so quick, David. I mean, you know this. I don't have to tell you this. I'm telling the people listening. Everything just goes so quick, much quicker than you expected to. Have your cash liquid. And my third tip is don't settle. Throughout this whole process, I likened it to kissing a frog and finally finding my house charming, right? So I kissed a bunch of frogs before I found the one, and I'm glad I didn't settle.
House charming. That's going to go in the How to Buy a Home lore.
Okay, good.
Genius.
Thank you.
Before we get into it, I'm just going to do a quick explanation for everybody out there. Vayola, where was your cash that you needed it liquid? Because it could be in multiple different places. Where was it for you?
That's a good question, David. I'm one of those like shopaholic little girlies. So I knew that I couldn't trust my cash to be in my bank account too early on. So I had my cash in my retirement account. I've been at my job for 10 years. So I've been putting cash aside there. I've been putting cash in my 401k and my 457. So those were the 3 places that I had to get cash. And it wasn't quick. It wasn't, the next day, a wire. It was a few days. And with this house buying process the way it is now, you don't have a few days.
1,000,000%. So I will reiterate, the day that your unicorn calls you and tells you we're under contract, the next business day, you call your bank if you have a CD. You call or you go online to E-Trade or you call your broker and you liquidate the stocks.
Mm-hmm.
You call your company if you're doing some sort of vesting thing or some piece that's with them. Or you call the money marketing manager that, like Vayola did, for your 401ks, your 437s, your 457 Magnums, your anything. All right. You just call. 457 Magnum is a gun.
I was like, I haven't heard of that one.
I only know that because I think it's Dirty Harry or something. I don't know. I have had many, many, many buyers. Fortunately, I've gotten to the point now where I have good lenders who tell them early, but I've had many, many buyers who change their mind. So it's not just liquidate all your cash. It's the day it gets accepted. start thinking about where's my money coming from.
Absolutely.
And like you said, it's a whirlwind, isn't it? Those first 10 or 12 days of buying a home.
A lot is going on. Oh my gosh, so much is going on. And you know what? I'm not sure if it's always been this way, but literally the day that my offer was accepted, I was on the phone setting up the inspection which was April 29th. And then the inspection happened on May 1st. And the inspection report came in at 9 p.m. on May 1st. So everyone is working overtime. Everyone is working quick to really get it all to happen for you. And I love that, but you also have to be ready.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing. It's very much, people always ask me because I had a very short little stint in showbiz. And people think that because you were an actor that you're really good at real estate. I'm like, baby, it's not about the actor. You're the stage manager. You're the person behind the scenes that's putting out fires.
Right, exactly.
The one thing that was helpful was you sit in your trailer all day and then the light's just perfect and the cameras are ready. You have to be ready to go in an instant.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And we try to make sure what you had was a great unicorn team that could get all that stuff done for you.
I did.
The contract will say you've got 15 days to get your inspection. Well, that's dumb. Why wait till the 13th day?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So you reached out on March 1st.
Yes, I did. I reached out on March 1st. You know what? I actually thought you were the unicorn because the way I heard about the podcast was, I was like, you know what? I really have to get serious about this house buying. I want to do it this year, God willing. And I went on a Reddit and I said, house buying podcast for first time home buyers to listen to. And everyone was actually mentioning your podcast. So I immediately downloaded, immediately went, it's like you knew me or you know millennials. I immediately went 2 years back to listen to the first episode. And then in those first episodes, you say, guys, don't go back in time and listen to these episodes. If you are going to do that, do one of the previous and one of the recent. So that's what I was doing. And I heard this couple that was a first time home buyer and they said that they reached out to you. And I was like, no, he's such a celebrity. I wouldn't be able to reach out to him and actually get him. And then I hit you up on Instagram. I'm like, I'm never going to hear from this guy. He's so busy. And you literally responded that minute. I said, this has to be a bot. So then I made a joke and you sent me a voice memo laughing at the joke. I was like, oh my God, this is blowing my mind that he's actually responding in Pacific time to my Eastern Standard Time. It was wild. So I thank you, David, because you were the captain of the ship.
Thank you. The process that I want the first time home buyers to experience is the same process that I've been doing with people here for 18 years. Thanks to technology, I can do that. I could have been in line for the Star Wars ride at Disneyland and sent you that voice memo. My kids are cool. They know that. You know what I'm saying? But, I know what an Instagram notification looks like. And people are like, how do you do it? I'm like, could you respond to 200 Instagram messages a day if that was your job? I bet you could. You know what I'm saying? So I get up every
morning. I don't know if I would get to it as quickly as you got to me, though. I will say that. Answering emails is my job, and sometimes I'm hours behind.
The good thing is we want to make people connected. So on March 1st, you reached out to me. You gave me your information.
Yes.
I knew that I had my girl in Long Island. Anne is a killer unicorn. And every time I do a Zoom with Anne to mastermind and go over some of the things, because you're New York and I'm LA. It's like different markets.
Yeah.
She goes to her backyard on her deck and she hangs some sort of unicorn paraphernalia behind her.
I so see her doing that. I can see Anne doing that 100%.
So walk us through the process. So the deal with the podcast is you reach out to me, I'm crazy, and I DM you back. And then you get in touch with someone who understands the process. What did that first meeting do for your clarity?
Okay, so it was a phone call, actually. Anne called me. And I don't think I had her number beforehand, but she introduced herself and she said, David referred me to you and gave me your information. And I'm Anne. And she just wanted to know all about me first before we even got into the whole home buying and what's my money situation like. She wanted to know all about me.
Say that one more time.
She wanted to know all about me. She cared about me.
It's about your life.
It was 100%. It was about my life. She wanted to know who I was, where I came from, why I want to buy a house and where do I want to buy a house. And it was just We were on the phone. It was supposed to be, I think, a 15-minute conversation. We were on the phone for 40 minutes. We were just going back and forth. I loved her immediately. Like, we just meshed. And I told her exactly where I wanted to buy. And I said, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to be able to buy in New York because the market right now in New York is a little crazy. I'm not sure if like all my finances will line up. And she's like, all right, well, let's see. Let's cross that bridge when we get to it. And I told her I wanted to buy in Central Islip, which is a part of Suffolk County in New York. And I said, I think that's where like my bracket would get me. And I want a house that it's going to be for my daughter and I want to be comfortable. And she just listened and listened and listened. And then afterwards, she sent me to her lender. And she said, this is part of my unicorn team. You don't necessarily have to use her, but this is the person that I always use. I get off the phone with Ann. I speak to the lender immediately. Like, she calls me and we talk. And then now she's more into the finances of, okay, where do you work? How long have you worked there? How much do you make? And she was jotting it all down. Shout out to Lauren. Like, I love her. And it was just the entire team. And then the real estate attorney, Nancy, shout out to her too. She was amazing. Everybody just cared about the person, not about the sale. And it was just such a nice process. And I have to say also, it was an all girls, besides you steering the ship, it was an all girls team. Anne, who was the real estate agent, to Lauren, the lender, to Nancy, the attorney. And then the funny side was on the other side, the seller side, the real estate agent there was a woman. So we were at the closing just like talking about outfits, taking pictures. We were just, it was a girl's day. It was a girl's day.
I saw the pictures. I know.
Yeah.
One of the things that's really exciting for me is I've had a couple listeners that have said the same thing when I've interviewed them. And there's something really empowering. And I'm so glad you said that, because anyone out there listening, the fastest rising demographic of people buying a home are single women.
I'm proud of us. I'm so proud of us. And you know what? It was really important to me too, because not only did I not want it to feel like a boys' club, I wanted my daughter to see the example of women just taking charge and doing things and being empowered and really making like bold life decisions and being supportive of one another, not catty. It was so important for me to have her throughout the whole process because I wanted her to see women being relational. I wanted her to see women being empowered, women taking positions of power and just sitting at the table with one another and just not being catty, not it being about like all the financial stuff, but just us caring about one another. And it was phenomenal, David. It was really great. It was such an uplifting moment.
Okay, now you told me, am I right? Is she 12?
She's 12, yes.
Okay, talk about the timing of that lesson. Because my youngest went through, how junior high girls get, and they made a whole movie about it, Mean Girls, in high school.
Yeah.
She got to see the maturity, like, hey, it's not always going to be like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And she was so proud of me too, bringing her to the closing. We kind of wore like matching outfits. Bringing her to the closing was just such an empowering moment for me as a mother, as a single mother. And for her to just see that, she was so proud. And she was just sitting at the table with me, even though she didn't sign anything. I had a conversation with her beforehand. I'm like, this is for us. Like, I'm doing this for us, for your legacy, for us to have something that's ours. And it was a really important lesson. And I think she definitely learned it. I think we built a core memory that day. And for her to just see all the women at the table, just supporting one another and loving on one another, even, the seller was a woman. So it was just phenomenal. I couldn't have pictured it. I couldn't have painted it better myself.
Oh, and you got my heartstrings. You said core memory. You got a marble. I love it. Okay, we're going to go back to your daughter. Let's get into the nitty gritty.
Absolutely.
So you are a single mom. How long have you been renting? Where have you been living? How long is your rental history before you made this incredibly brave decision as a single mom of, holy moly, a preteen? How long were you renting before this?
So my story is very unique. I'm very privileged in that I've always lived with family. I come from a Haitian American household, and with Haitian Americans, you move out of your father's house to go into your husband's house. So there was no moving out or going to rent. My family has been there from the beginning. I was pregnant in law school actually with my daughter, and they have been my rock. They have been my foundation. So I've always just leaned on them. So there was no rent history or rental history to speak of because my father wouldn't even dream of taking money from me. So it was all the money that I had was money that I could have saved from the beginning of my career.
Okay. So are you an attorney now? Did you complete law school?
Yes,
Okay.
I completed law school. Actually, it's right across the road. So I live where I went to, in the same town that I went to law school 10 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
And I've been practicing now for 10 years.
What's your commute like?
My commute now, so I work in the city. The train, so I take the LIR. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's like you guys' BART. Yeah, so I take the train into work. It's about an hour and 15 door to door. It's not bad because to be honest with you, when you live in Queens, which is one of the 5 boroughs, it takes an hour to get to the city. So this is not bad.
I just got back. I just dropped my son off at Marymount Manhattan College.
Nice.
On the Upper East Side. I know the LIR. It's fun because you can get work done.
Yes. I love it.
Or you can nap. Whatever.
I nap and I read my books.
Yes. And listen to podcasts.
I do. I listen to your podcast. That's what I do.
So what was the impetus for you as a professional single woman who wasn't renting? What was the impetus to start researching to buy a home?
Really, the impetus came in 2020. During COVID, I really sat down. I'm like, you know what? I got to get my own space. Like, I love my family. They're great. And like I said, I'm incredibly privileged and I appreciate everything that they've done for me. But when you're in a house that's multi-generational and there's nowhere to go, I was like, wow, we really got to get our own space. We got to get out of here. So that's when I started really looking into my finances, really cleaning up my finances and started saving in earnest and really plotting to, all right, it's time to buy this house now.
Okay, so when you reached out on March 1st, how long did you think the process was going to take for you?
I thought it was going to take a really long time, David, to be honest with you, because in November of 2020, I started the process with this organization called NACA, Neighborhood Assistance. Yeah. So that's who I started with. And it's such a long process with them. And I was still going through it 4 years later. So I thought, okay, well, you know what? I'll plant the seeds here as well. I'll go with David and let's see which one just comes up first. And yours was light years ahead of them.
I had 18 years. I had one NACA deal with my partner. And like the whole time through, he just kept looking at me going, David, we're never doing this again. Never, never, never. Like many government ideas, it's a wonderful idea to attempt to lift people up, give them a hand up, not a handout.
Right.
But in a competitive market, your offer is like the lowest of the low.
Exactly.
It has such a slim chance of closing. And that's what I tell people. Can you buy a home with NACA? Can you buy a home when your credit score is 580? Can you buy a home using first-time buyer grants for everything? Yeah, you can. But you know what you could do? You could also meet with a unicorn and plan for 6 months, 8 months, get your credit score up, get your savings up, maybe to a 3% down. Then your offer gets so much more attention.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, I agree. And I appreciated all of the foundation that NACA laid for me because one of the things that I don't think I ever had until I started working with them was the financial discipline. And they sat down with me and they said, hey, I understand you work in Manhattan and it's tempting, but you can't buy lunch every day. You have to pack your lunch. You have to save your money. This is how much you have to save. And they're really militant in that. And it was kind of scary, but I needed that push. I needed that kick in the butt because like I said, I'm a shopping girly. So a lot of those things had to stop. And I'm glad for them because they instilled in me all of those financial values.
There are 2 steps to buying a home. A lot of people come to me with the first step completed. Trial and error. You get kicked in the butt by life so many times. Next thing you know, you're 34 years old and maybe you figured out your financial budgeting style. And there are a lot of great places to do that. I rag on Dave Ramsey all the time for buying a home, but it's a good place to start. NACA is a good place to start. There's this other group called MMI. There are all these incredible groups that can help you with that. But once you get to this step in this market, you got to get some crazy creative unicorns who know how to work everything, and the lender and the attorney. Everybody's got to be on the same page.
I agree with you.
So you came in March 1st thinking it was going to take a long time.
I thought it was going to take a long time, at least a year. That's what I thought. It was, David, when I say lightning fast. So I spoke to you March 1st. I don't remember when I had the call with Ann, but I met with her for the first time on March 15th to see houses. So the first house I saw was on March 15th. And like I said, it was kissing frogs. It was no. And I'm like, wow, this is going to take longer than I expected because I don't know if I'm going to be able to find a house. I saw this house that I'm sitting in right now it came on the market on April 26th. I saw it on April 27th. Offers, firm, serious offers were due on April 29th. My offer was accepted by 5 p.m. April 29th, and I closed June 27th.
Okay, everybody. I know that if you're not shopping for a home, if you're where Vayola was, like in January and February, just listen to my podcast. Yeah, that's the way it works now. People put a home up and they give everybody 2 days to put your offers in.
Exactly.
That's incredible. What did you do with your offer to make it attractive?
And this is where my unicorn team came in again. This is my first time. I don't know anything about what an offer should be, because one of the things that I'm noticing, the seller's real estate agent, what they'll do is they'll list it, kind of lowball it to get feet in the door, to get people coming through and seeing the house. But if you actually give the offer that was listed, you are nowhere in the ballpark. So I spoke to Ann. I was like, Ann, what should we do? Like, I don't know what to offer. And then she's the one that pulled the comparables. Like she said, okay, this property that's similar to yours, this is when it sold, this is how much it sold for. So the listing price was $415 for the house. And I was like, Ann, what should I do? Should I put in $415? She's like, absolutely not. If you put in $415, you are not going to be considered. And then so when she gave me 3 comparables, actually, like Ann was on top of her game, she gave me 3 comparables and we were able to set our offer at $450. So that was my initial offer, $450. So what I have to say about the whole unicorn team is that they are such, I guess, diamonds in the field. Everyone kind of knows them. So the real estate agent for the sellers knew my broker. And she, of course, she had fiduciary duty. She couldn't divulge what the other offers were. But she told my broker, she's like, I want your girl to get it. I want your girl to get it because I know I'll be working with you. I'll be working with Ann. I'll be working with good people. Can she come a little stronger than $450? So then they came back to me. They said, hey, can you come a little stronger than $450? And that's when Lauren came in and she was crunching numbers with me. And then we were comfortable with $465 and 10% down, and also getting rid of, I call it the appraisal contingency. You probably know the name better than I do, where if the appraisal comes in less than what you offered, then sometimes you can negotiate.
That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Your words would hold up in a court of law.
Okay. So Lauren is like, let's get rid of that as well to make our offer more attractive. So we ended up offering 10% down. We ended up going up to $465 and getting rid of the appraisal contingency. And then she's like, your girl's got it. And she literally, oh my God, the real estate agent for the sellers literally did not want to hear anybody else's offer because there was another person who wanted to go into a bidding war. Like, well, what did this person offer? Because I want the house. She's like, no. Firm offers were supposed to be in by 9 a.m. and sorry, somebody else got it. And she would not entertain any more offers. And I was like, if this is not the favor of God, I don't know what is.
Luck is when opportunity meets preparation. People always tell me, oh, there's a million realtors, so I'll just use any realtor and I'll use a discount realtor. I had a listener the other day, oh my God, if you're listening, I still love you and you can come back later, who told me that they're going with a discount realtor.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, okay, so you're going to save $7,000 because they're going to kick it back to you. That's what Redfin does. Mm-hmm. And then they give you the worst agent in the world. A lot of people think that when 2 agents want to work with each other, it's because there's some kind of deal or they're trying to like, ooh, I know this person. I want to help them over that person. It's absolutely not. When you're the buyer, who represents you says this person will make your life easier, Mr. Or Mrs. Seller and Mr. or Mrs. Listing Realtor. There's nothing worse as a seller than getting your home under contract and having it fall through.
Absolutely. You are 100% right. Exactly. Yeah.
So a lot of people think that negotiation is just the first offer. What's your story tells us that it's the what we call the counter offers, the second offers.
Mhm.
And a lot of it sounds like it was done verbally. And then you just put it on paper and you got accepted.
Exactly. Exactly. The paper part of it, I didn't even see. It was Anne that took care of all of that. But like I said, it was more relational. It was more them getting on the phone with me, seeing what I was comfortable with, and then them taking care of all the paperwork in the background.
And waiving the appraisal could be a scary thing for first time.
It was scary for me. It was, I have to say. It was scary because I'm like, what if it appraises much less? Like, but you know what? I felt as though Lauren was not going to steer me wrong. She wasn't going to steer me in a place. And also based on the comparables and based on where the market is going right now, she's like, I'm confident that 465 is a good, firm, and fair offer. So it wasn't like one of those things where she was like, offer 465. It was 100%. We agreed that that was going to be the offer based on all the facts that she told me. But I was still scared.
Well, you have every reason to be scared because the real estate industry is so weird. You're sitting in a home that you love. Imagine if you hadn't talked to Lauren and Anne for a few months ahead of time. Imagine if you went to an open house, you met the agent, and you're like, this is awesome. And then the agent said, here's my lender. And then you go home from the open house and someone goes, so that house for 415, you got to come in at 450. Like your head would explode.
Absolutely.
It doesn't make any sense. There's no logic to it.
Because how do you jump from one to the other? But for the fact that I was able to see each step in the process, I was comfortable.
Yes. And that's the great thing. And being able to understand and get those comparables. Okay, so can I ask you, did you end up fully appraising or did you end up under?
It went for 465 exactly, not a dime under.
I got a little secret for you. That happens like 98% of the time. It's the dumbest thing. It's like, because we all know it's subjective on so many levels, and the appraisers still want to get good with the bank. So if it's even close, they're going to give it to you.
Okay.
That's the way it works.
But once I saw the 465, I was like, oh, thank God. Okay, good.
Did you have a little extra from the 10% just in case?
Did I have? Oh, yes. I was able to have some. So again, I'm incredibly privileged. You know, my father, he was very proud of me for buying the house. So he gave me $30,000 as a gift.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And now he gets to visit his granddaughter in your space as opposed to him giving you that money later on.
Absolutely.
I talk about that in my Thanksgiving podcast, how to beg your parents for money.
And you know what? At first I was against it. I was completely against it. I was like, no, I want to do this on my own. You know, there's something I want to do by myself. And I didn't even ask my dad, really. I just let them know, oh, I'm making an offer on a house. And they were like, oh, we want to support you. Like, of course, like, we want to give you something. And I was like, really, guys? And they're like, yes, absolutely. So that was a dream come true.
It's amazing. And I appreciate and understand, like you said, you know, you're in a place of privilege, and that's a wonderful thing. I think a lot of people out there need to realize that, you know, there are opportunities to ask. And the easiest way to ask is just talk about it with your relatives.
Absolutely.
That funny uncle funny uncle, that's the wrong word.
That sweet uncle.
That sweet uncle or that bizarre aunt who they might all of a sudden pop up and go, oh, well, here you go.
You'd be surprised because they're so proud of you.
Yes, especially single mom doing your thing and like, you know, got a job in the city. And now you're like, I'd love to show an example. The process of offering on the home can be incredibly stressful. But boy, isn't it nice when you know that the people, not only do they know what they're doing, but their reputation preceded them.
Absolutely. You took the words right out of my mouth. They were really my safety net. And I trusted what they were doing. I didn't second guess what they were doing. I know they were coming from you and therefore coming from a good place and a knowledgeable place. So I just felt very secure.
It's an interesting thing now running this podcast because everybody thinks that I hire as many realtors as I can just so that everybody out there can get a deal, which is actually really funny. I just let go 60 unicorns last month because they're not Anne.
Wow, no, they all can't be Anne.
And I have, and I want it. It's a simple understanding. Wonderful people like you out there deserve the information. And then you deserve to be put with the 10% of the 1.3 million realtors. And it's tough to find them.
And thank you so much for that opportunity, David, because really no one really cares about first-time home buyers. We're not here dropping $1 million or $2 million or $5 million or more on a property. So the best realtors most of the time don't care about us either. So it's like, we're small fish. We're small fish in a big pond, but you make it so that we come to the forefront and we're cared about and we're nurtured and our hands are held. And it really sounds like, oh, this is so trivial. You guys are adults, but this is a whole field that we know nothing about, and it's daunting.
Oh, well, it's great talking to you because I had an interview with a therapist and, she single, did her thing, and she was the same way. She's like, here I am, a therapist, and I know all the things that are going to trigger the emotions. And I still went through all of them.
Exactly. No, I went through the gambit. And guess who was supporting me? Guess who was like, it's all right. You can cry. Come into the office. I'll give you a hug. It was my unicorn team because the banks made me cry, David. They made me cry.
It's like everybody wants to make you feel like you're not supposed to be doing this or you can't do this. I hated that about the industry. That's why I started the podcast.
Yeah.
Don't make people feel like you're bothering them.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the banks will make you cry hard and they will ask you for stuff and then you'll be 3 weeks in and they'll ask you for the same stuff. Again.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to explain to people it's because they have this process called underwriting. And in the underwriting process, underwriter 1 looks at it, then 2, then 3, then 4. Then when it gets to underwriter 6, they go, whoa, who's this Vayola chick? We're giving her $400,000? And then they go through it with a fine-tooth comb, and then they ask for the same, and then they'll go, wait, you just did a deposit yesterday for $250. Where'd that come from? It's crazy.
Yeah. But you know what? My unicorn team with the broker and the attorney, they weren't even the people that I had the issue with. It was my own bank. It was MC. I'm going to call them out. It was my own bank because they'll be glad to take money from you. But when it comes to getting your money back, or, taking a large sum of money, they're like, whoa, hold on here. What is this for? And I see that your parents gave you this check I see that this person gave you this check for $30,000. Who is this person to you? And let me see their bank account and this. And it's just like,
Which is why, from the very beginning, one of your first 3 tips, do that stuff early.
Mm-hmm.
Get liquid early.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't believe I'm going to defend the banks. It was a little post 9/11 and a Patriot Act. That they didn't want foreign entities coming in and buying properties with strange money. And I will let everyone know this too. If you are getting a gift, the documentation of that gift, did you have to give your lender like a letter from your parents?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I believe it's called a grantor's letter. Yes. So he had to sign it. I had to sign it and submit it. Yeah.
See, that's funny. In New York, they use grantor's letter because that's the legal term. In California, we call it a gift letter. Because we're California. You thought you were going to be looking at homes forever. For you, what was your experience as far as trying to figure out when you started and you felt that initial frustration, what got you over the hump? How did you narrow things down?
That's a really good question, David. So when I sat down with Anne, my realtor, and she was asking about the things that I wanted and seeing that I'm a single mom, she was like, okay, so you're not going to want to shovel. You're not going to want to clean gutters. And I'm like, yes, all those things are true. Yes. And then at first we were looking at townhouses and gated communities. And then I was excited about gated communities because I'm like, oh, good, I'll feel secure. Anyone that's coming in are people that are supposed to be in here. But then, David, God bless Anne for having so much patience with me. We saw the first house in the gated community and I was like, I don't like it because there was no yard. There was no way for me to entertain. And I'm one of those people. I love to entertain. I love to have my family, my friends come over to my home and to take care of them here. And I just was not going to have that in one of these townhouses. So I was like, Ann, you know what? Scratch that. Like, maybe I will mow the lawn. Maybe I will shovel the snow. Because I just wanted more space. So one of my rules was, out of the 3, attic, basement, and yard, I need 2 out of the 3.
Oh, great. Yeah. And the compromises, that's a great lesson. The compromises change.
Yes.
Like maybe you had, safety basement yard. And then you realize that the safety of the gated community didn't offer you the yard at all. And then you realize yard was more like one.
Exactly.
And then it had to be either a basement or an attic, but that yard needs to happen.
Right. So, and then Anne just listened to me, and then the listings that she showed me started to change. And some of these listings, David, you would be surprised. The things that these people are selling, Anne says it best. It's like slapping lipstick on a pig. And it's like, here you go. This is for $500,000, $600,000 now. And it just, they were not worth it. And she never pushed. Once we saw a home and she got the vibe and I got the vibe, she's like, this is not it. This is not it. This is not for you. And I'm just so glad she kind of like let me off that way, because I didn't want her to feel like I was wasting her time. I didn't want her to feel like, oh, yet another house Vayola didn't like, and she never made me feel that way. She was patient. She was like, nope, this is not the one. I can tell, so she knew when it wasn't it. She knew when it was a frog as opposed to House Charming.
That's the best. Oh, and see, now there's all kinds of animal metaphors. You're kissing frogs, you're kissing pigs with lipstick. My buyers, over the years, we developed something where we'll walk into a place and they'll be like, it's nice. And they'll look at me and I'll go to my nose, which means I don't know yet. Like if the seller's there or something.
Right. Oh, yeah. Those are awkward.
Yeah, you got to be careful.
Yeah.
And if it's vacant, you got to be careful too.
Really?
Cameras everywhere. So if you end up putting an offer on a house, because you're probably going to hate one thing about the house, but you love everything else. But they're going to be like, I worked hard on that built-in cabinet with it's in tiger print or whatever, But then we go to the backyard and I look at the roof and then I check the electrical, and then they look over to me and I would seriously look at them and go, which means lipstick on the pig, because I got and then we just turn around and walk out and say, thank you, love your home.
Exactly.
Well, that's very important, because there are those people that yes, you made the decision for the big compromise to maybe do a little gardening, but you don't want to have to do the stuff that the lipstick on the pig is going to be a problem. You don't want to have to do major electrical or plumbing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what kind of place did you get? Is it a newer place? Is it an older place? Long Island? I don't know. How old is the home?
Right. It's a mixed bag. So the house was actually built in 1994, and I bought it from the first owners. So that was nice. And they were also African-American, and they were like a father with 2-daughter combo. And I brought my parents and my daughter at the time. So both of our families met and meshed really well, surprisingly. So they were wishing us well and we were wishing them well. So the house has been previously loved, and they were just so happy that it was going to be loved again.
Previously loved. Girl, you are just tons of lines. These are all things I'm going to say now. With my buyers, we're looking for House Charming. This home has been previously loved. It is important, because if you look at a home that has been previously loved, an original owner, you can discover by looking at the way that the home is kept in general.
Absolutely.
Like, okay, these are people who probably since 1994 have checked out the air conditioner once or twice, have checked their plumbing, have checked their electrical.
Absolutely.
Not the place is messy and it looks like they just cleaned it up for the open house. I was talking to a realtor today, my unicorn in Denver, another Ann. And she was like, floorboards. All I do is look at floorboards. If I go in and your floorboards are dirty, I know you're a dirty person. Because they'll clean everything else, but they won't clean them.
Right, exactly. No, there were some homes where it's just like, oh my, like, who is living here? What's going on? And before I could live in there, there would have to be renovations. There'd have to be deep cleaning. And with my house now, I was just able to turn the key, move in, put in my furniture, It wasn't one of those things where I'm like, oh, I don't want to put my purse on the floor. I don't know how long this carpet has been down.
But see, and that's the kind of stuff that you got in that initial conversation. Yes. And it's important to know, because I've got some people, when I show them a new house, they're like, I'm not paying for all this, David. And, they, instead of bringing their camera to take pictures of the house, they're bringing their tape measure and their hammer. And I'm like, we haven't even bought it yet.
They're ready to hang up pictures already, huh?
Well, this is an incredible story. Is there anything else about the process? I know you took notes,
yes.
You attorney, you. Is there
Yes.
anything else? She's checking her notes.
I'm checking my notes. That's exactly what I'm doing. Let me see here. Oh, yes. And you know what? I was such a going out person when I was living in my family's house. Now, all I want to do is stay home. All I want to do is just be in my house, cook in my kitchen, bake and clean. And my Friday nights are going to Target, getting things for the home, and then decorating the house. That's a lovely Friday night for me. And time just runs away from me. I'm like, 12 a.m. already? Where has the time gone? All I've been doing is baking and cleaning, and I'm just loving being at home.
Everybody's home means a different thing. And the ability to turn your home into your space and what you want, that's a big thing for the renters. You don't have to ask the landlord to change this or change that.
Absolutely.
But then you also find the emotional piece of, you will, like, people are like, oh, David, we're this millennial couple and we love doing stuff. I'm like, rad. Turn your home into a club. Get a karaoke machine. Have your friends over. Like, and then they call me like 6 months later and go, oh my God, we do game night. What happened to us?
Exactly. No, it really is. There's a huge switch. The only other thing that I have to say, David, is I just want to take a moment to praise you, because I know that this podcast is such a labor of love. And with every single episode that I listen to, you can see how much knowledge, how much dedication you put into it. And even out of the podcast, like when you texted Ann and I to check up on us or sent emails, just being encouraging, you are just phenomenal. And I just want to encourage you to keep going. And you're making so many people's dreams come true. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart.
I've had people that have come from nothing, and that's a wonderful thing. And then I've had people like you, and I'm like, hey, here's a young professional with a daughter. And if you just Googled other stuff, she might have been graduating high school by the time you figured out how to do this. But I'm glad that my little podcast turned into you guys being able to have this amazing situation. Is she close?
She's here. She's here.
Come on over. Wait, okay. Zenleia, is that correct? Zenleia. Okay, cool. Zenleia, what up?
Hi.
Zenleia, how boring was sitting at the closing table and watching her sign papers?
It wasn't boring per se. I mean, I was like listening, but I wasn't really like interacting. But I wouldn't call it boring, but it was. I would say it's like a long process that you just have to be patient for.
Holy moly! I gotta have you talk to my youngest. He'd be doom scrolling, going, "Dad, seriously, when are we done?" And I just have to ask you a question, like, how was it watching your mom go through this process? Did she freak out?
I feel like she was freaking out a little bit. At least a little bit. And for me, it was exciting watching her do it, because like I knew, but by the end of the day, the house would be ours, to like for like our pleasure to go in and out of. And yeah, that's it.
That's cool. And where's your favorite part of the house? Do you like your room? Do you like the yard? Do you like where's your little spot that you own?
Probably my room, and like
she loves her room. She loves her room. And now she wants to work on our vacation home that's going to be in Florida. So she's already picked out the estate and everything. She's a fancy girl.
Yeah, all right. Well, sounds like she gets it from mama, you shopper. We could do this all night. Now you stay there, because I'm going to stop the recording, but you need to stay there.
Okay.
Because I got more to talk to you about just for funsies.
All right. Sounds good.
All right, everybody. Rewind, listen to those lessons. And I'm so excited that you get to hear from real life homies and real life success stories.
Ah, what a great episode. Oh my gosh. Just listening to Vayola again just gives me chills. There's a whole bunch of great interviews. We've been doing this for 6 years now, so there's stuff way in the back. If you want to hear some other episodes, I went way back, like into the hundreds, and I found a bunch of great interviews highlighting different aspects of the home buying process. So episode 104 is with Tuesday. That's her name. Super cool. Single female, trying to buy a home for a few years, found how to buy a home, and she figured out how to do it. 109, great young couple. Renting, didn't think that they had what it took. After binging the podcast, in a matter of weeks, they owned a home. And then episode 116, buying in a high cost of living area. That was incredible. Washington, D.C., great story. And then what about buying in Boston? Another high cost of living area. That's episode 128. What about in college, trying to figure out how to buy a home? 129 is Quasi, who ended up getting a full loan approval while he was in college without 2 years on the job. Incredible story. Episode 167 is story of a couple who didn't think they were anywhere near buying a home and spent years and years actually what they told us was doing the wrong thing. That's Christina and Sean. The story was so moving. I actually cried in that episode. Then we got another single woman who did this. 169 is Joelle, super smart gal. And it was so fun hearing her insights on buying a home. And then episode 189, you may not have heard before. That was Stephanie and her husband who were told they needed 30% down. Well, when they talked to the right real estate team, not only did they not need 30% down, they were approved for a 0 down VA loan. They were getting such wrong information. Thank goodness they found us and found the right team. And then episode 217, maybe one you haven't heard before. That's a couple million Ben bought a home for $435,000 with only $17,000 home, and they bought it before they were 30 years old. So there's your list. Hope you enjoy it. Take some time, listen to the interviews, get inspired by other people. And remember, they went through the steps, they figured it out, they did it. And you know what? So can you. You can do this.
Looking for more DIY education or your own personal step-by-step guidance through the home buying journey? Since 2019, How to Buy a Home has been the #1 resource for first-time home buyers. So visit howtobuyaHome.com to get started.